Hello, and welcome to an incredibly special episode of the Solo Gamer Podcast. This week, I am, as always, joined by the number one fans of their respective teams, Taylor and Kyle. Gentlemen, welcome to the show, a special edition of the show. Are you excited as I am right now?
God, I'm so excited.
Dude, I can't wait.
Why do we love this stupid shit so much?
I don't know. I think about that every year, and I also think about how much heartbreak I've endured, and I really don't know why I keep coming back. You know,
it is like it breaks down under any scrutiny. Like when you think about it, like all of these people who don't have very much money spend a bunch of money that help fund like these lavish lifestyles for these guys who go out and play this game and coach the game and stuff. And it's like they live in another universe than us. They don't know any of us. They don't care about us. They do it on some level, right? But it's such a powerful connection. And the thing I always tell people who don't like sports, in case there's anyone listening tonight that, you know, weekly listeners that may not be into football, but you decided to give it a try. The thing I
hope there's at least one of them out there.
Yeah, that'd
at
be
least
cool.
One, I think, would be cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about. I mean, we definitely will get into gaming related topics. Like as far as we're going to be, Madden is a role playing game. We'll get into that. It's not a good role playing game, but it is a role playing game.
It is.
But something I always tell to someone who's like, "This is stupid," because they're not wrong. They're not really that wrong. It's pretty dumb in a lot of ways. But there's something about people. We have been doing this for as long as civilization has existed. So there's something just in the DNA in there, it seems like. I mean, from Rome and Egypt and Greece and China and like every major civilization, Persia, the Mongols, they all had like big competitive games or sports or whatever. I mean, the Mayans had a competitive team sport, spectator sport through medieval times in Europe, tournaments and races. I mean, it's always been a thing. And like, it's the same situation. The people who are doing it, I mean, if they weren't slaves, were very popular, right? And rich and like not really of the people that were watching them, but it just doesn't matter. Like there's just something so core to this thing, this sports thing. And, you know, the NFL happens to be kind of our like number one, but we like most sports. I think all of us are pretty, you know, kind of big sport heads. I have a question for you guys, actually, both of you. And either you guys can figure out who wants to answer it. A great host. Great hosting there. Have you ever been in a group with like a group of friends or people at school or whatever that are surprised that you like one thing, that you like both of these things, that you're into the jockey sports? Like I become a complete jock when I watch football. I mean, there's an incredibly rich, muscular man just who's wearing a uniform that's blue and green, and he just destroys a guy wearing a uniform in like red and white and gold or whatever. And I'm just like, boom, bitch. What? Yeah. Like I just did something, and that will never go away.
Get fucking hyped up,
dude. I should take a picture of you in your coaching stance when it gets down to the wire.
You know, but then on the other side of that coin, you know, I'll be in here. Well, you know, next week we'll be in here talking about like, well, you can raise your stats with destruction magic if you were to go and collect the helm of ancient death. You know, and it's like those can like in pop culture, those people that does not mix. And I know so many people, I guess as this stuff became mainstream, who just love both. And do you guys ever run into that where you have people who are like, you like sports or vice versa?
You go first, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, that still is pretty common. There's plenty of people that I run into that think it's really dumb. Speaking on the mixing between a gamer and a sports fan, I mean, I do think that there's a lot of similarities at the same time, you know, specifically with like following stats when you get into that sort of stuff and kind of comparing and contrasting players, who's having a great year, who's not. Having those conversations is very almost like RPG like in a sense.
100%.
And then you add the fantasy football into it. I mean, and you're really actually playing a game at that point where you're keeping track of all the stats. So that part of it kind of like is like the perfect blend of my gamer nerd side meets sports at the same time.
God, I love some statistics.
Oh, dude, yeah, love talking. Although sometimes I get carried away, man, because sometimes they'll be talking about how no quarterback has ever thrown for 300 yards and rushed for 50 on a Tuesday, winter night, when it's like when there's 3 inches of snow out. Like, they get really specific.
Before week 14.
It gets granular, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Me and my dad always have this joke every year. It inevitably happens every year, at least one game the Cardinals are playing. We always have this joke that, the other team will like score like this incredible touchdown like over the Cardinals defense at some point, and then like they inevitably have to have like a stat block that's like, this is the longest completed pass ever in the history of the game, even going back to the merger on a Tuesday when the sun was out. Like, so like weird. anytime like something happens where just me and my dad are just like dumbfounded, like they just gave up this crazy run or something, we inevitably go into the stat roll of like, all right, what was the longest run in NFL history on a Tuesday in the snow against this team pre-merger? Like, just,
Yeah, it is nuts for sure. I don't know what's up with that. I think that for me, like, the thing that is the same or the sort of the parallel reality or parallel traits about what I love about NFL football or baseball or whatever sport, but especially football, and let's say video games, the kinds of games that we discuss on this show and the kinds of games that we enjoy typically the most, is that it's this cool combination of current human stories and drama, right? You start to get to know these players on a somewhat superficial level, but a little bit more than that. You have a relationship with them in a way. Mm-hmm. They know who we all are as a group, right? And we know, and then we learn about them, and a lot of these guys have overcome insane, difficult things throughout their life, challenges and tribulations, and it's you have people who you're rooting for. I remember when the Seahawks had a fullback named Derek Coleman, and he was deaf, and he during the play he would read Russell's lips, and then Russell would give him like a hand signal to like where he was going to go, and they figured it out, and that was just such an amazing story amongst everything else going on. So you have these. I
forgot about that.
You have these narratives, right? Whether it's the drama, we've got these billionaires who, in every other part of their life, are unquestioned and know it all, right? They know that clearly they got to the $1 billion. Maybe some of them are just family rich, but a lot of them are like businessmen who started some. Jerry Jones was an oil guy, right? Or whatever, like lots of, big tech companies, whatever the situation is. And the only time they're ever held even kind of accountable for anything is in the NFL, and they're making these horrible decisions, and their fans hate them. And there's these big, they're hanging and burning effigies of the owner outside the stadium and stuff. And so you have like all of these sort of human narrative moments that are happening in the moment as you're watching, just like when you're playing a video game. And then you also get this lore where every single team has this legacy. Some have legacy of utter failure, and others have legacies of being the little guy, the underdog, or some have legacies of being the great dynasties that could be unstoppable, or the Steelers were built on the greatest defenses of all time in the 70s, right? And if you know that kind of stuff, you watch a lot of football, it's like you're taking that context of who these teams are and who they've been for decades and decades and decades, and you're combining it with the narrative of these characters. It's just like a great fantasy game that has this really old world full of books and people talking about things that maybe you don't know, or you can go learn about those things, and it adds to the moment to moment action and drama of the people. And I think it's really similar in that way. Like I'm always, every time I look at a matchup, I'm drawing back on either memories or things I know happened like a really long time ago. And it's all like part of this game. And man, I just fucking love it.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. The stories behind each and every team, a lot of them have just incredible stories when you really kind of go back on it. And I think that's why we really like watching the America's Game show. I mean,
I love that show.
It's so much fun to see all the different personalities and characters that were involved in, in the NFL's history of, Super Bowl winners. But even outside of that, the Super Bowl losers and stuff, there's a lot of great stories with that, or even the teams that just never quite make it. I think there's something to be said about that. That's very interesting. Every team has its own story, and when you've been in it for a while, you feel like you're a part of that story. You've endured a lot of that. So I do think that's a good shout out to that, because I think that plays a lot into, what we like about it, because it's similar with, with gaming. When you've got that really great story that you can relate to, it sticks with you.
I'm a legit
guy. Lore,
100%.
Yeah.
Totally.
For a lot of these teams, going back, in a lot of cases, like 100 years, basically, of like playing this game. And like one of the things I've always found really fascinating too is like when you go back to look at like your team or just a different team in the league, and you see like how many iterations they've gone through, like with like different cities that they've been in. Like we were talking a little bit earlier, like Chicago was like home of the Cardinals for a really long time, and then they went to like Phoenix, and then there was a time where like they merged with like the Steelers to make this team called the Card Pit. That was like
that's crazy.
I think it was like there were people that got drafted or something for like the war, or maybe it was like a bunch of people enlisted for World War II, and so they didn't have enough to form a full football team, so they like just combined the Cardinals and the Steelers together to like make this random team. Like
I think I watched a video on that with you, Ian, on YouTube.
We did watch that.
Yeah, we were watching like old logos of like teams, and they went over that, and the logos were super weird too.
They were
so funny. Yeah, it's amazing. It's so ingrained with American society and our cities and our civic pride and the places we come from, the places we call home, and then these teams are these sort of physical manifestations of the place that we call home and the place we're from and our own personal history. I think that's why it hits so hard. Because it's like, it's not just Russell Wilson who threw the interception on the goal line of the Super Bowl. It's like the city of Seattle. It's the Northwest, the Pacific Northwest just took, like, that's us. That was our ball that he threw into the, through to New England. Like, it's like, it's so much more than just, it just means so much more.
It represents so much more than just like that team,
Yeah, exactly. So I just kind of wanted to cover that, because I do feel like I understand the disconnect for a lot of people who love video games as much as we do and haven't connected with sports. They maybe have bad experiences with sports when they were younger, because I am not an athlete. I've never been a good athlete. Kids were really mean to me when I played, early baseball and soccer and basketball. Kids are just mean. Kids are mean in general, and they were mean to me, and I hated sports for a really long time. I didn't really get into football until 2003 or 4 or something like that. My brother just wanted to watch football with me, and I just wanted to hang out with my brother, and I didn't really care about it. And then you just start learning. Oh yeah, well, 10 years ago this happened, and this guy you see here was for this team, and now he's on our team, and he's really good. And then you start seeing him do really good, and you're, whoa, so that guy did that. And it just slowly builds, and you just carry all of this meaning with you all the time. It's pretty interesting. So
definitely helped that we had some of the greatest personalities in the history of the NFL during that era.
Yeah,
for sure.
You just mean the early 2000s?
Yeah, man. I mean, I just think back of like, maybe I'm just kind of like being biased about it because it's what I grew up around. But I mean, when you've got characters like Ray Lewis and Brian Dawkins, and the list continues to go on, but those two really stand out to me. Of like, there hasn't really been a player like that in a long time. Chad Johnson is a great one. A lot of great players that kind of stood out. I think Marshawn is a
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
But that was like later on,
so
more
kind of
more
next,
recent.
The next era, the next generation there.
Yeah, it's hard for me to kind of pick out somebody who would stand out like that in today's league. So I do feel like we were kind of lucky to be around some very unique and incredible personalities. I mean, obviously there's Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and Tom Brady had more of a like crazy serial killer vibe, you know? But
yeah, it's true. No, it's we definitely started in the right time. I've always said that too, just specifically about Seattle. Like I got pretty lucky because I started watching in 2003, and that's right. They had Mike Holmgren, and then they had a young Matt Hasselback, and it's just like I didn't know, but I was going to come in, and it's like, oh, the vast majority of the next 20 years is going to be, winning the division and going to the playoffs and going to Super Bowls, and before that, it was nothing. Like the Seahawks didn't do shit for decades prior to that. So I just happened to walk in right before that all kicked off. So that's been a lot of fun. But yeah, so today's episode, not just going to be about football, but I did want to just open up and just sort of address some of that. We're going to talk about football video games specifically. And then I think if we have time, we are looking at kind of we're going to do about an hour and a half show tonight. And so if we have the time, we'd love to talk a little bit about our teams, about the NFL. We did get one right in from Miles.
Oh yeah,
nice.
That's great. So we'll definitely read that. I might actually break up. He wrote in about Madden specifically, and then he wrote in about football specifically. So we'll split that up. Cool. But yeah, so let's start off. Taylor, we'll have you start. When did you first start playing Madden? And just kind of tell us about your experience with Madden as a franchise in general, from when you started to now, just in a concise way.
Yeah, so it goes a little bit farther back for sure. It definitely gets into that early 2000s era for football that you were talking about a little bit earlier, Kyle. I think I actually did not start out playing Madden. I think literally my first football video game and really sports game in general that I ever played was NFL Street. And I think from that point, I always liked the more like arcadey kind of style that it sort of brought to video games. So I was a huge fan of those games back in the day. And then kind of as I started to get just a little bit older, that's kind of where I started to get into more of like the simulation based games. And it was really the first time that I had separated that idea in my mind that video games based on certain things can be broken down into those two parties, if you will. Like there's more of an arcadey style sports game that doesn't take itself too seriously and is kind of meant to be enjoyed as a video game. And then there's Madden, which is more of like the simulation based thing. And I think that me getting into Madden kind of coincided with like watching the games a little bit more closely, like following the players more closely, and also like really getting into like the stat side of it as well. So yeah, started off on Street, then went into Madden. And I want to say the first ever Madden game I played might have been 07. I think Michael Vick was on the cover of it, if I remember right. And I can't remember if he was 07 or 06. Or
Madden 07 was Sean Alexander.
Oh,
okay. Was that Madden 06?
It might have been.
That would have been 06, right? Well, because it's weird because it would have been 07, I believe. We can look it up.
That's Sean Alexander. You got
07, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And I have a reason for the fact that I knew that, which I'll
maybe that's later than what I'm thinking then, because I know Michael Vick was on the cover of the first one I ever played.
You got McNabb on 06.
04 was Vick.
04.
Vick was 04.
Nice.
So, and I remember at the time I was actually like a really big fan of watching Michael Vick play, and there was a random guy that my dad knew from one of his jobs who knew that I liked Michael Vick, and he like got me like an Atlanta Falcons like stitched Michael Vick jersey.
Damn.
And it was super, super cool. And I had it for a long time, and then I like sold it for like a good chunk of change. Like it was worth like $200 or something like that. But I remember I was a really big fan of Michael Vick back in the day.
I mean, who wasn't?
Yeah, he was fun, man.
He's such a unique player at the time. I don't think we had ever really seen a quarterback be that athletic before.
Yeah, he's just purely fun to watch. Like that Atlanta Falcons team with, I think it was like Algie Crumpler and, who was their other running back?
Algie Crumplers. God,
that's a throwback,
back,
isn't it?
Yeah, dude.
I think they had like TJ Duckett.
Yeah, TJ Duckett. Oh, they were
dude.
fun to play in Street too. I loved the Atlanta Falcons and NFL
I only
Street.
know that because TJ Duckett ended up signing with Seattle after that, and he was like this really big guy. He was like too big for a running back. He was even maybe a little big for a fullback, and he was big. And my brother always called him the loader because they would just give him touchdown runs, and so he'd come in and we go the loader.
I love that.
I don't know. Just all these random stories.
Yeah, Warwick Dunn. Sorry.
There you go,
dude.
With his little chain, dude.
Yeah.
Warwick Dunn was sick. Yeah, that was
that was a fun team.
Yeah, they were. That was like just like right as I didn't know very many of those players yet because I was just getting into football in that time. How about you? Oh, go ahead, Taylor. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and back then too, like the story of my life, the Cardinals weren't very good, so it was kind of like one of those things where, like, even as a kid, I like followed the Cardinals like closely, but I was kind of more. In their really, really bad years, I was kind of more of an NFL fan who was really just kind of like following disparate players and disparate teams if they were really fun to watch. So there were like a bunch of teams back then and players that I really liked following. Because at the time it was like Josh McCown on the Cardinals, and you had Bolden and Fitz, which were like the best players at the time. Like probably like our biggest claim to fame at that point in time, but they weren't like playing for anything super special until the Super Bowl. So
yeah,
he had Emmitt Smith for a little bit.
Oh, that's right.
At the end of his career,
they did that a few times.
Dude, Arizona sports has done that so many times,
which is so funny because that's kind of what Arizona's one of the things Arizona's known for is sort of like the snowbirds and retirees go down there from California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana. They all go down. They get
There's
old.
There's been a couple of them that's performed. There's been a couple that performed, but by and large,
the running back for the Colts, Edgerrin James.
James.
Edgerrin
James was pretty good.
He was good for at least a season. Yeah.
Guys,
I think was he on that Super Bowl team? Was that time?
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
I thought so as well. Yeah. So
either that or like Tim Hightower, or Tim Hightower might have been like right after. But.
Okay. Yeah. Man, it's funny to think about the players, the names of teams.
I know. I was thinking, I was like, who even played for the Cardinals in 2003? And I was like Googling it. I'm like seeing names like Calvin Pace, defensive end. Man, take me back. Good times.
Yeah, that's still
Bertrand Berry.
Oh yeah, dude, there you go.
Nice.
It's so funny. I love one of my favorite things, and it seems to be a thing with NFL. I love these like deep cut. You're a true fan if you know these guys from your roster.
I love just getting together with a bunch of like football fan friends, drinking a beer, and being like, "You remember this guy?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I love that guy." You know, it's so fun.
Because like there are players that when you're first getting into football, you don't really know the contract status and who this person is and if they're even going to be there next year. I didn't have any of that awareness. And just thinking about the players that I loved the most, I was a big Deion Branch fan, which is so funny because we traded. We gave New England a first round pick for Deion Branch.
That dude, first round pick for a receiver is nuts.
I know.
Is nuts.
It's so dumb.
When you see some of those trades back in the day, it's like, what were we doing, man?
It didn't make any sense. But you at the time you don't know. Now we're all opinionated.
The league was still figuring it out. I mean, it's very clear.
There's plenty of teams still trying to figure it out, man. It's crazy. It's crazy how bad so many of these owners are at this job, given the amount of information and how much like your average fan knows. Not to say that it would be easy, right? Negotiating these things, it would be very difficult, but just like what not to do, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
You don't trade for Deshaun Watson and give him $200 million guaranteed. No fan would ever have done that. Maybe somebody would have, but a lot of people, no fan like us would ever have made that call, you know. But That's what happens sometimes. You get desperate and you make horrible decisions. But how about you, Kyle? What's your kind of your legacy with Madden? When did you start playing Madden, and how all the way up to the point where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you the first. I know I couldn't tell you the first Madden I watched because I was really young at the time. But I did watch like older people play Madden when I was young. I always was obsessed and wanted to play football specifically. It took a while to convince my mom to let me do it, but so yeah, I just kind of grew up around it. I always wanted to play. I played football since I was a little kid. And then I think when I first started picking up Madden and actually playing it myself was the Madden 2003. Was around that era. And that's, I just have really fond memories of like some of the greatest players. Like even on the cover, it's got Marshall Faulk, and that's somebody I absolutely loved at the time. And then you move on to like Ray Lewis, Donovan McNabb, players I just really love watching all the time. I just think of like the iconic players. I think that's what really stood out to me the most about playing these games is I really looked forward to like playing people that I idolized more so than just actually playing the simulation side of things.
Yeah.
So I honestly, a few times I would actually just do fantasy drafts because I wanted to like play with like Brian Urlacher or Ray Lewis or Ed Reed and like still, play the Denver Broncos. So, it was just early on for me. Madden always kind of like stood out to me. And I remember I actually played like a game of it. I don't know which Madden it was, but I was like really, really young at the time when I was over at my friend Cody's house, and his parents had this like roommate that just basically played games all day. He was like the coolest dude to me. When I think back on it, though, I was like, all right, maybe he wasn't so cool. But no, it was a good time, and so I think that was my first introduction to it, and then I loved the NFL Street games as well. Loved the shit out of those games because I think they focus more on like individual characters and their personalities. But yeah, I think it was just easy for me. It made sense. I played football, always dreamed about playing football. Football was like my first love before I was introduced to Madden, and so it just made sense that I wanted to like, get into the mind of like being a coach, while I was playing and kind of understanding the game a little more and getting to play with some of my favorite players of all time. So that's what it was for me.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun to just sort of all we ever do when we're watching football. I would have done this, or they should have done that. It's like, all right, well, it's fine. See if it works, right? You're now in control. You can decide. You can stop yelling at the screen about running the football and just run the ball, which is what I do.
I'm still yelling at the screen, but yeah,
I'm still yelling at the screen. But when I take over, it's like, look, okay, I'm the coach now, guys. Right. We're running the fucking ball. We're gonna run. We're gonna run 39
down their
times.
Throats.
I don't care if I get 2 yards on first down. We're running it again. Which is, I have become like oldest, most conservative George Hallis over here, which is not what I would have thought of myself in many other facets of my life. But when it comes to football, I'm just like, no, kick the field goal. I just stop kicking yourself in the face.
Points on the board.
Especially with today's game, man, you got the Detroit Lions. That's like the polar opposite.
Kyle and I love watching games broadcasted by what's his name, the tight end for the Panthers, Greg Olsen.
Oh, yeah. Greg Olsen, yeah, he's great.
He's so
Greg,
funny.
Oh my! Well, every game, every single series, no matter who has the ball, no matter what the score is, no matter where they are in the field, he'll always just be like, "Well, I think they might have to go for it on fourth down."
Dude, I mean, this guy has been like, I think they're really thinking about here on third down how they can make a more manageable fourth down. I'm like, no, that's not how you play the game. What are you talking about?
They're on their own 20, and it's the first quarter.
What are you talking about thinking about a manageable fourth down? Like,
if you can get this with like 4th 1, 4th and 2, you might want to go for it.
That guy's ridiculous. I love watching.
It's so funny. We just get a crack at it.
I meant to go back to this earlier, Kyle, because I didn't catch if you had said it. So did you play football at any point?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
No. God, how old was I? Maybe like 9 or 10 years old. Man, I was tiny at the time. Yeah, I played Pee-wee football. I always lineman, dude. I've always just been. I grew up a fat kid.
Nice.
And, always a little bit taller too. So they didn't give me a choice. They're like, you're playing line.
You got some defensive line work in high school, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, like I eventually.
I wish I could have played defensive line.
Yeah, that to me is like the best position in sports because the game's pretty simple.
Yeah,
you need to just wreck. You just need to wreck whatever's going on back there.
See red and just destroy.
Yeah. I mean, there's some sort of you got to stay in your lane, especially when you got outside contain and stuff like that. But for the most part, especially when the situation calls for it, you just need to get back there and hurt somebody, and that's like just football at its purest form.
Yeah, it's just freeing.
Yeah.
And I played offensive lineman for like my entire football career, but like defensive line was one that I like was always dying to play. I just was never tall enough to do it. That and like tight end and wide receiver, I also wanted to play so bad.
Yeah, see, I don't know why our school never ran any tight ends, man. It was all spread offense.
Well, because I already had the blocking down, so it was like I used to like catch all the time, and I took pride in my ability to catch really well. So I was like, I got the blocking part down, coach. Put me in, But again, I just was never tall enough. Like you couldn't have me at 5'7" going out there trying to catch balls. So
that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Actually, shout out to I do want to make it. Sorry,
No, you're good. No worries.
Yeah. I do want to shout out to Troxler because I know that you listened in, man. I played quite a bit of football with Matt, so he knows he knows the grind, doing the 2-a-days and all that, man. I miss those. I miss those days as much as I hated them while doing them. I think back, I'm like, man, I would definitely run back a 2-a-day just to kind of experience that again.
Just one more time.
Yeah, I get that.
One more time.
That makes sense. It's one of those things that you enjoy in hindsight, and the structure was probably really good for you, and having all the friends and
yeah.
Oh, it was a blast.
Kyle, I don't know if you know or if we've talked about this before, but Taylor was football camp buddies with Christian Kirk, right? Christian Kirk?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
They have a picture together and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, we went to the same Cardinals football camp, and it was, I think, Larry Fitzgerald's like either rookie year or like maybe the year after. And he was there and signed my jersey. I have a jersey signed by him. I have a helmet signed by him. And Christian Kirk was like, they had us like in the dorms at NAU up there. And he was like our like roommate. And he's younger than I am by a little bit too, even. So like, I have these like really fond memories of us like joking around up there, just being stupid kids. And I have a picture with him. And I think I also have a picture of him with Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's so cool.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
Didn't he play for Arizona too?
Yeah, he did. He got drafted by Arizona.
Dude, what a dream come true for that guy.
Yeah.
And then he got a fucking bag in Jacksonville.
Huge contract.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So always been a fan of him. I've always wanted a jersey of his. I think that would be really cool.
It'd be awesome.
That's really awesome, man.
Yeah, I remember I tried reaching out to him when he got drafted, and I was like, he's probably not going to see it or care, but I like sent him a message. I was like, hey man, we used to play at the Cardinals football camp together when we were little kids. Like, so cool to see you make it. Like, especially playing for my team, So I like sent him some of those pictures, and of course he. I don't even think when you have like a blue check mark on Instagram that you could even see regular messages.
You might even have someone doing it for him.
Yeah, you have to go to like a whole separate inbox. So he obviously never saw it, but I was like, how cool would that be if he looked at that?
That would be
which
sick.
sucks. I'm sure he actually would have thought that was cool.
Oh, for sure.
It's not like you were like, hey man, could use a couple bucks.
Yeah.
You were just
put me in a suite, bro.
Yeah, right. Yeah. How about that Diamond Club football camp?
Oh man,
you were just funny. He would have loved that, I'm sure, if he could have seen that.
My uncle Levi actually went to school with Jonathan Stewart. He's actually from the Washington area. You remember the running back for the Panthers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
he was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of random memories. I think the only football player I've ever met was at a game down, the touchdown city that's like that huge area below, or kind of outside and below the field in I almost called it CenturyLink, Lumen Field. It's kind of where they do all the events, pregame events and stuff for people. Sometimes they'll have older players out there, and you can, if you want to get in line, you can get something signed. And they had Max Strong, which is like a really good Pro Bowl fullback for the Seahawks for a long time, and he was out there, and I got to just shake his hand, and just one of those like sort of like cool. I randomly met Jewel State, the actress that plays Kaylee in Firefly, and I have a signed illustration of her as Kaylee. So just like those it didn't mean anything. Awesome. It wasn't a cool story, but you just get those weird little moments. I really got close. So my whole football thing is that I was going to play football in high school, and I got my physical, and then they couldn't find my spinal cord. And so I got the x-rays, and they saw I had insane scoliosis, and I had to have spinal surgery. And that was that. You're not playing football ever.
Right.
That was that. But once I had the surgery, apparently a big time player from the Seahawks at the time was coming to the hospital and was going to come see me and a few others. But the training camp started and they couldn't make it, and it didn't work out. So I don't know who that would have been. Probably would have been like Julian Peterson or Lofa Tupu or Matt Hasselbeck or, one of these classic Seahawks. I don't know, Daryl Tapp. I wouldn't have cared, man. I would have
been sick.
Michael Boulware or Babineau or something like anybody. Who knows who it would have been? But it probably would have been someone who's like still kind of part of a Seattle, the Seattle sports scene to this day. So that would have been really cool, but it didn't work out. But it's fun, those little stories like that where people, somebody who knows somebody, kind of a thing. These connections.
Yeah.
You went to football camp.
I saw Howie Long at the airport one time.
Perfect example.
That's a big guy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. My God. Even decades after his retirement, he's just a massive guy. Yeah, Madden for me, I was kind of later to it. So I don't know what the first Super Bowl I ever watched was the Raiders and the the Buccaneers. So the 2002 season. That was the first Super Bowl I ever watched. I didn't know really what I was watching. My friends were into football, and I guess we were rooting for the Raiders.
Yeah.
And that did not work out very well.
No.
But that was the first football game I ever watched. And then the first Seahawks game I ever watched was the overtime wild card playoff game in Green Bay where Matt Hasselbeck said, "We want the ball, we're going to score," and then threw a pick six.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
So that was my first Seahawks game that I watched. But I did not. I think my buddy tried to show me a football game. It was one of the NFL 2K games. It may have been 2K5, but it was right in that area, like right in that mid 2000s era, before the Seahawks made their first Super Bowl run. And I remember just being very overwhelmed by it because I didn't watch football every single week yet. I wasn't quite there. I would watch games with this person or that person, and I was just I didn't really understand what was going on. There wasn't anyone there telling me what was happening moment to moment very much. And so I just kind of waited and it was too much. All these squiggly lines and you got to choose and there's a timer and it's just like, and all these menus and numbers and positions. I mean, if you don't have someone helping you out, I just didn't have the motivation to figure it all out at the time.
Oh, for sure.
It's just tough. But then I started watching the games and learned how it worked. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get Madden. I think Madden 06 was my first Madden, because that was at that point, my brother Rob had sat me down and we had watched every single game of the 2004 and the 2005 seasons. That was our Super Bowl season, that 2005 year. We watched every last game, and he was explaining everything to me. Like, this is what the downs mean. This is how many yards to get. This is the field goal. This is punting. This is why you punt. All of these things. I just needed someone to just break it down, and then I would ask questions and learn and learn and learn. So it's like, okay, now I kind of get this. I want to try it. And I just became totally obsessed. I was playing on the original Xbox, so it must have been Madden 05, which I think was Ray Lewis. Is that Ray Lewis? Madden 05?
Yeah, I think it is.
Sounds
right. Yeah, Ray Lewis.
And I was creating a team. I would always create a team because I was still pissed that I had to move from Portland, Oregon up to Wenatchee, Washington at the time. I was only, however old I was, like 14, 13, 14. So like, I'm going to make the Portland team. So I always made the Portland Imperials.
Nice.
Black and green was their color scheme, and they had like a knight helmet for their logo. And I made a stadium, and I called it Multnomah Stadium, and that's what I would do. I didn't want to play I didn't know enough still. I was like still learning. And then as we kept going along and the games kept getting better, that was when Madden used to get better, which is crazy to think about now.
What a concept.
Right.
Dude.
And I started to like learn not just the mechanics of football, but like who the players were. And I started to watch football games that weren't Seahawks games. I was watching and Sunday Night Football on my own accord with no adult supervision and into it. And that was like the twist for me when I really got into Madden and started playing with the Seahawks and with the Bengals. I got into the Bengals randomly, and because I was still young enough to just be like, those Tiger helmets are cool. And just became a fan. And they are. Oh, that's still my favorite. I still think it's the objectively, especially now, the Nike redo. Those are my favorite jerseys in the NFL, like bar none. Bar none.
The white Tiger too looks
the white,
clean.
The all white and the all black are the two. Those are just unstoppable jerseys. They should belong to a better franchise.
Yeah,
they should be way better wearing that great fit. But so I started really getting into it then, and like that's when I started. And I learned I felt like there was a moment in time in the late 2000s where it's like I knew every player on every team because I played Madden so much.
Yeah,
and I saw all those teams so much. I just got so into it, and the franchise mode was so good. They had the radio show where the guy would like talk about constantly in the menu would talk about what's going on, and they had the the like newspaper headlines and articles that would talk about your team and talk about things that happened in the game, and it was just so reactive and so fun, and trying to win the Super Bowl and all that. And I got totally obsessed. And I would pore over every preview before each Madden would come out for years, and like the ratings, what are the ratings, who are the players, what are the player ratings, what do they think about the team, like it was such a part of that lead up to kickoff, and just so exciting. And I would always start a franchise, then play it for quite a few years, then the Seahawks would usually either kind of not be great, or they would lose one and done in the playoffs, or get destroyed in the divisional round, and they would like hurt me and I wouldn't want to play. And then after the Super Bowl, I would be like invigorated again. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
And I had those two. And just years and years and years and years, I would just repeat that cycle over and over. And man, it's really changed now.
God.
Madden has really, really, really changed. It's like the corporatization of football in general, right? I mean, NFL Red Zone is now going to have commercials.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was watching the news about that. It looks horrible.
Yep. So they're gonna squeeze the game into a tiny little corner at the top of the screen and have big ads and stuff now. So it feels like Madden went along with that world, right? It feels like money just sort of ruined it.
Yep.
Yeah, they definitely jumped on the train.
When did it start to fall apart for you guys? Like Taylor, when did you go, oh, this is not good? It took me a while figure that out.
It took me a while too, and I would say in terms of video games too, I was always like growing up, I was never really like somebody who was really aware of like technical issues or like bugs or like things of that nature. Like when I was a kid and I had a game that like fucked up or like wasn't working or like required a patch or something to play, like for whatever reason I always assumed it was my fault, like something I did wrong or like messed up. And I'm sure that might have been the case for a good majority of them, but like I just wasn't aware when I was a kid that some games just don't work or like have things fundamentally broken about them. So it kind of wasn't until honestly I started like watching reviews for them, like on like really early YouTube for like Madden, and had actual like game reviewers be like, this is bad and here's the reasons why and here's the footage to go along with it, that I like really like put two and two together after that. So I would say that I probably started becoming more cognizant of it like right around the time like YouTube maybe it might have been like 5 to 7 years old kind of thing, because you just didn't get like those kind of in-depth breakdowns on the games. And I think that those were like the standard for whenever another Madden game came out, we always judged it by how broken it was compared to the last one. You know what I mean? So that's where I think like the timeline really started for me.
How about you, Kyle? When did that doubt start to creep into your mind and realize this is
God, when I really think about
slowly.
it happened very slowly. I probably didn't really notice it till about Madden 08 or 09. But I do think the downfall happened as soon as, ESPN 2K games went away. To me, the pinnacle of just sports gaming in general is ESPN NFL 2K5. I don't think there's ever been a better sports game made since then, and I'm just including all sports with that in general. I think when it comes to like the presentation, the extra things that you can get, like there were sort of like achievements. I remember they used to have this hallway or like this house that you could have where you got to decorate it based upon, things that you were accomplishing and stuff like that. And you would go to your trophy room and you'd have all sorts of trophies. And there's just so much stuff in that game, not to mention, obviously, the gameplay is great. And then they were the first ones to implement having like a weekly show and a halftime show where they were actually showing the plays, and it was seamless and they made sense. And you got Chris Berman in there with the dint 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 dint.
Yeah, they used everything.
Yep, they used everything, man. It's still the game that I think of anytime I ever play a Madden game. I always compare it to that. And I don't think that Madden has ever reached that point. It took them until I looked it up. They didn't come out with the extra point until Madden 10. Madden 10. They waited 5 years for that.
Mm-hmm. And even that was half baked.
Yes, it was very.
There was no
half-baked.
highlights. It was just Fran Walsh saying the same things over again, and then I can't remember who it was, but like a lady going really awkwardly, being like, "The Chargers take on the Seahawks at Quest Field." You're like, "Oh God, this is so bad."
You can hear the inputs being entered in. For
even that, now I'm like, just give me that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
So I think ultimately the downfall was, after they became exclusive with the NFL. But I don't think I really started noticing it probably till like Madden 08, maybe Madden 09, where I was like, I mean, this is the same game.
Yeah, it was still good, but it wasn't. Yeah. Nothing was being added or changed or improved.
No. And especially after I had played ESPN NFL 2K5, I'm like, well, there's a big gap here. And this is the only NFL game coming out. Otherwise, I would have just, wrote it out with ESPN. 2K games. I would have just stuck with that. I probably would have stopped going for Madden games, but unfortunately, they kind of force your hand.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it took me a couple years to start realizing that not only was a Madden 05 not even nearly as good as 2K5, it never got there. And it was they were slowly coming out with stuff. So yeah, I think, 08, 09 was about when I started noticing it, but I didn't stop buying Maddens for a few more years because I was just hoping that they would figure it out.
At least it was still, because for me, it was still a quality game. It wasn't quite.
Yeah.
I also didn't play 2K5 very much. I know now, looking back, I've watched a lot of videos on it, and I understand what was so much better about it. But it was still a good, solid game, and they were still trying things and adding things. They didn't always work, but it still felt like I was spending money on, at the very least, an updated version of the game.
Yeah, it didn't feel predatory just yet.
Right.
No.
For me, the two things that it really was like a light switch just being turned off. And it was the Xbox One PS4 era when they switched over to this new engine that they have. What is it? Is it Frostbite? Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
I think it's called Frostbite. Maybe it's either Frostbite or it's some other ignition or some whatever the engine that they're currently using, which is all based on canned predetermined animations and not physics. And of course, with that era of consoles, it was the first one that was very much connected and online right from the beginning of that era. And that's when the loot crates were taking off and all of that kind of stuff. And it was this horrible combo of an engine that could not properly support American football in a realistic way, because you have all of these just random sort of predetermined animations instead of physics actually doing any work. And it just makes the game feel cheesy and cheap and fake, and you can see behind the curtain the whole time you're playing, and every team feels the same because the AI is the same and all the players have the same animation base. They all look the same. They look a little off. They all look like kind of like mannequins. They don't have a way. They don't have a way for the players to naturally transition from the running animation and then running across the end zone and just going straight into a celebration or whatever. For a long time, they'd run in and then just go. It's just like it's just these little things, and they finally fixed that now, sort of. But this engine, it just doesn't. It's not fun to play. It doesn't feel like I am in charge or I'm influencing anything.
It completely takes you out of the simulation too.
It does. It totally does. It's just the AI doesn't bite on play action ever. Because they can it just always knows what's happening beforehand. I don't know. It's never felt quite right. And then of course, not only do you have that, which is just an anchor, right? That's just a giant anchor. No matter what they do, the gameplay will always just feel like something's missing. But then on the weight on top of that is the whole Ultimate Team. Hey kids, come purchase all of these card packs and take your imaginary fantasy team online. And the more packs you buy, the more likelihood you're going to get a better card. And that was it. That was the end of it. They just stopped paying attention to every other mode, because that mode makes hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars for them actually at this point. And that ruined it. I mean, I think those two things for me, just that it went from a good game that it was stagnant but good, to stagnant and awful. and they haven't managed it. They've this last one. So we all played Madden NFL 26, the 10-hour trial, right? I think all three of us got the chance to play most of the hours on that.
Yeah.
Because this was the first time that I saw things that actually made me hopeful. The animation suite for players looking a lot more accurate. It looked more like the NFL product on the field, I think, at least from a superficial standpoint. But we all played 10 hours of it. Looks like they tried to add some stuff to franchise, not as much as I originally thought, I don't think. But just a yes or no question for you guys. After 10 hours of Madden 26, did you end up buying a copy or not?
I'll go first. I came so close. I was texting you a lot, Ian, about just how it went like hour by hour that I put into it, where I was like, man, I love this. I think I'm gonna probably get it. And then I'd be like, I'm not really liking this. I think overall I would have to say no, that I wouldn't buy it. But I do want to be clear on the fact that I think it is a great improvement from previous years. And so I would totally wouldn't judge anybody for wanting to buy this game. I do believe in, obviously, rewarding good behavior by paying for that. My only concern is just with the way that, gaming is now. I feel like a lot of these things I think it'd be more productive if it was just a live service game. That's how I really feel about it. And I would even honestly pay like a monthly subscription to just play Madden. I think that would be okay. My issue is the fact that they have to keep recreating a new game every year. And I don't think that they apparently don't have enough time to actually implement anything really important. Yeah. There seems to just be a real big focus on, creating new marketing for that next one to come around. I think that there's a lot of time spent on that portion of it. And again, this one is definitely the best Madden I've played in decades. I really like the new presentation that they have. Again, when you start to play it, though, like the initial shock of it is like, wow, this is great. The presentation is great.
It's like, they did something.
Whoa, this is shocking. But then you play your second game and you start to realize, wait, that looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
And you start to realize that maybe that the weekly show, it only has Scott Hansen commentating on like 3 plays for the whole week. You only got 3 highlights? I'm a bit surprised by that.
And one of them is always the game you just played.
Right. Yes. One of them is always the game. And then not to mention, he actually got some of the players' names wrong, which really irritated me. And then I've started to see other things like the animations. Again, classic Madden, where, oftentimes they have these wonderful ideas on paper. But then I always say, okay, we'll see how it's implemented. Because oftentimes, for some reason, they messed it up, and they'll put in things like, not that this was the case, but they'll put in things like, how the weather affects players. And I was talking to you about this, Ian, where we saw the effects of rain and players slipping. And I'm like, this is cool, but I don't want to play this game and find out that when it rains, my running back slips on every single snap. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, they need to do it right, and they need to be careful about that, and they need to spend more time on it. And so that's what I felt about all this, is like, these ideas are great, and you're going in the right direction, but all of these ideas are half-baked.
Yeah.
You've barely put anything into these ideas, and so for that reason, I'm like, we need to make this a live service, and you need to just spend more time on just focusing on patching and improving the game, and just do a monthly subscription and not worry about having to resell it and re-advertise it over and over.
Yeah.
Focus on developing the game.
Half-baked and poorly executed. It just feels like, I don't know if Madden just hires like brand new developers right out of school. And also, it must be a terrible pressure cooker of an environment. You're making a new game every year, basically.
Probably a lot of contract work.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just all these little details. You're talking about the Scott Hansen and the highlight show. Now, this doesn't matter, but it's just so Madden. I played a primetime game in Arizona, actually, as the Seahawks, and I wore the action green jerseys. Not because I like them particularly, but because it's realistic. tend to wear those on against Cardinals or on Thursday night games. They wear those a lot. And then I did the highlight thing, and they were in there all navy. They're all blue, And I know that's a small thing, but it's like, what? It's just why is there so much breakdown of every little thing? Everything has to be broken in a little way. It's like it can't just work. Things just can't work. They go talk to Todd Howard. It just works.
It just works.
What about?
I mean, those sort of things are just unacceptable. It's like if a lot of our RPGs that we play, man. Imagine if you are playing an RPG and it goes into a cutscene, and then suddenly your character is not carrying the weapon or wearing the armor that you were wearing just a second ago.
It just rips you out of it.
Wouldn't that be the most absurd thing you've ever heard of in 2025?
Yeah.
That you haven't figured this out already?
Yeah, it's like Rube territory. They're just it's just like what? Like you have endless money. You could
great word.
It's like you guys are losers. It's like they're losers. It's a bunch of losers, and I don't mean that like personally. I know that sounds like it. They're set up to fail. A lot of the developers are just totally set up to fail because they have to focus on the wrong things, and then they don't get the time or the money, and clearly the engine is just not designed for any of this. So it's just like building on a house of cards, a foundation of just nothing. What about you, Taylor? You got a chance to play? If would you buy this game if you could, or recommend it to someone?
No, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play the newest one, and I've been waiting for a long time to buy and play the newest college football game. That was actually one that I was really, really wanting to play at one point in time, and I think it might be cheap enough now where I think I could like jump in and really have a lot of fun with it. So I didn't get to play either one, but I was also kind of waiting to see what like the first week sort of reactions were to it as well. I don't think Madden anymore could be like a day one purchase for me. It would have to probably be something where I get the newest version of it on the cheap, or I remember through Game Pass, I think they had like a deal at some point where you could bundle the EA Play thing with it and get the newest games. So I've tapped in here and there probably over the last like 10 years into different Maddens just when the urge strikes to play through a season or two. But by and large, I haven't really unfortunately tapped into a ton of football games in the last couple of years, and the only one I've even been like somewhat interested in is this new college football game just for the novelty of it, right? Like I remember like quite vividly when the last one came out in like 2015 or 2014 or whatever it was. So the fact that it's been the first one in like more than a decade was really, really fascinating to me. But yeah, I think everything I've seen of it kind of echoes what you said, Kyle. I do see that there's been some improvements to it, and I'm glad to see that it's kind of trending in the right direction, but I still don't think it's there for me yet to where I could be bought back in on an annual basis. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a meme, which is for Madden, which is like for the last 12 years, every review has said a step in the right direction.
Right.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
They've been saying that for so long, and it's because they always do just enough to make you think, okay, well, you've got to start. You can build on that. But instead they just wreck it all, and it's never the same, and it's never any good.
And the college just forget about it, and then they're focused on the next Madden.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they have to just move on immediately. Yeah. It's not a good system.
They focus a lot on a term. So a couple years ago, prior to the pandemic, I was working with a software company, like a small tech startup company that offered a software as a service product. And there's a lot of crossover between like video games as a service, and something that is a software as a service model. And I remember one of the most interesting things I learned when I was working there is the term an MVP. You guys familiar with this?
No.
So an MVP in business term, and especially when it comes to software, is a minimum viable product. And that is basically, what is the minimum amount that we can put into this product to have it go to market and make money, but not spend so much on it that we have a ton of overhead. And that has been quite literally Madden's model for decades now, is creating what they call a minimum viable product and putting it out and just making just enough incremental updates to where it gives the false hope that they might be working on something different, but in short, it's pretty much always an MVP and stays that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Or they take away features and then reintroduce them 10 years later and go, look what we created.
Whoa, exactly.
It's like, dude, I've been playing this for 25 years, bro. You got to try harder than this.
Well, and the thing is, though,
they know they don't. Now.
No, they don't. They do not have to try harder. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's that you and I might know, but unfortunately, a lot of the generation that's younger than us, they have no clue.
Yeah,
dude. I was watching TikTok when it came out, and everybody was like watching the halftime shows, and they're like, "What? This is so crazy!" Yeah. I'm like, "Wow, a 2004 technology is blowing you away, huh?"
Yep. It's
how sad.
It's awful, and college football has just followed right along. The first college football game, the 25, the one that came out last year, was so refreshing. They made it a little more arcade-like. The players moved faster. The offensive linemen, it just felt like they blocked a little bit better, or at least in a way that was easier for me to read because it was a little more predictable. The offense just felt fun. Defense was difficult, but you could get the hang of it. And it just felt different and new and fun. And so I think there was a bit of an overreaction for the community of like, wow, we loved this. This was so good. And it was just so nice to have college football back.
Yeah. That was a part of it for me too, is like how much of this like really, really good press that this game is getting is due to the fact that the last one came out over a decade ago. You know what I mean?
Definitely felt better, but I think it's just because it was a little more fluid and fast and just slightly less realistic. Not that the Maddens is realistic the way that it as poorly as they function, but they brought it back again this year, College Football 26, and all they did was slow the gameplay down to match Madden, which is apparently like what the online competitive community wanted. I don't want this arcadey shit, so they slowed it down, and they added, when you're recruiting players for your dynasty, they added a thing at the top that tells you like what positions you need most based on who's going to graduate and stuff like that, which they didn't have in 25. That's it.
Oh my god.
And they added some more presentation stuff. There's some they added some more mascots and stuff, but that's it. That's all.
Let's talk about the mascots. They come out with mascots for Madden. And they're like, oh, but it's only for like 8 teams.
Yeah, it was only for some teams.
What?
Yeah, they didn't get all the mascots because they don't have time.
They didn't have enough time,
crazy, man.
Yeah.
And then there was also like,
that's wild.
They introduced. It's so fucking crazy. They introduced these amazing intros for certain teams for like Sunday night games or playoff games, like big games, right? And, so they have like Randy Moss blowing the giant horn for the Vikings and a bunch of other kind of cool, very team specific intros that you'll see if you watch games. And so it was like, and we do this for lots of different teams, but not all of them. And it's like, I was thinking, oh, well, they'll definitely have Seattle. They could just have pay like Marshawn Lynch or Richard Sherman to raise the 12th man flag. They do it every week. Right. It's right there, and they get the towel, and they get the crowd going, and they raise the 12th man flag, and everyone loses their mind. Nope, not in the game.
That's so crazy.
The Seahawks have a base standard intro. There's nothing to the Seahawks intro. They just run onto the field. Seattle got nothing. So it's it's just so, it's half-ass, new money.
It feels like the developers get like 2 weeks to come out with a new game.
Yep.
And then outside of that, it's like they're just trying to just get it right on point to maximize, like you're saying, Taylor, that, they're just trying to maximize profit for as little effort as they can. And you could tell that there's just not a whole lot of time put into these ideas.
Real quick, just to go back to college football, because I was trying to remember, did they include in 25, the one that came out last year, they do name, image, likeness for the players? Or is that in the new one?
That's in both. Cool. Yep, it's in both. Yeah, you can get the real roster.
I liked that too. I liked that change, of course. Not even just from a purely gameplay standpoint, but because you should be paying these players.
Yeah. Oh, because in the old ones, it was like everyone, they had the same numbers, same like body, weight, and height, and they would make them look kind of like it, and they would have random last names because they didn't want to pay them. They couldn't pay them. We have a great write-in today as well, and I'm rushing a little bit because we do have a bit of a cutoff we want to make here tonight. We got an early. Where are you? If you don't mind saying on the show, you don't have to. Where are you headed, man? Where are you headed, Taylor? For your early flight tomorrow?
Yeah, I got a flight tomorrow. My girlfriend and me are going to Detroit, Michigan, where she's from.
Hell yeah, I love Detroit, man. You been before?
I've never been. I've been as close as Chicago, Illinois, but I've never really been to the Midwest. So we're just going to go out there and meet her family and kind of see where she grew up and hang out and eat coney dogs. So it should be a good time.
Heck yeah.
Detroit's a great town. It's such a great town. I have my mom's cousin, which sounds like a really random, like far distant family member, but they're really close. They grew up together. He lives in Grosse Pointe, which is a suburb of Detroit, and I spent a couple weeks out there with my mom and his whole family for his 50th birthday, and he took us all over the city. We went and saw Motown Museum. I got to see Stevie Wonder's first drum set that he played on. Got to see where the Supremes recorded their records, and it was so cool. Great town. Don't listen to what anyone says about, it's all dangerous and shit. Whatever. Everyone says that about every fucking city. It's a great town. It's a great town. It's a really cool place. Wonderful people. It's I think you'll like it a lot.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
super
excited.
Cool. That's awesome. I'm really excited for that. So we did get it right in. Miles wrote in, and Miles is always good for a great write-in, and and so I'll just read it real quick, and then we can kind of he talks about the game at first, and then he talks about a little bit about the NFL season. So let me go ahead and pull it up here. Here we go. So he says, "Hello, TSG. I have played a variety of Madden games since Madden 08, and honestly, it's just been downhill slope since then, which is funny because that's exactly what you said, Kyle. Madden 08. Yep. I think I played Madden 25 the most of them all, and it's just not a great game. I tried Madden 26 out, but really it was just more of the same from 25. The only difference being it ran worse and took up more storage space than before. I returned it, and that was the end of that. I probably won't be buying a new Madden for a while until I see real changes and additions to the game, like a real overhaul of franchise, an actual coach mode, like the old Madden head coach games, and the return of an actual...
I love those games.
I know, dude. I never really got into them, and I wish I would have played them back then. Return of the coach games, and return of an actual custom team maker instead of pre-made teams.
Yes.
The Portland Imperials hear you. Also, the discrepancy between simulation statistics and actually playing the games yourself is extremely bad. It makes a simulation franchise essentially useless. And if you're playing as a team/player, you're almost guaranteed to win all of the awards at the end of every season. Curious to know what you guys are liking or disliking about the current state of Madden and or college football, and if there's actually any hope that these games will be great in the near future. There's no evidence to suggest that they will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit here, but it's hard. How much do I take incremental improvement, and can I assume they're going to build on it? No, you can't. They're just going to start over. Miles then says, as for the actual NFL season, I'm a Chargers fan with trust issues. We overperformed and were way ahead of schedule last year. I'm not sure what to expect with this season ahead. They had an amazing season defensively, and I'm hoping to see that again, especially our secondary. I could talk more about this, but I'm one of 12 Chargers fans, so I'll keep it short. Bolt up. Looking forward to seeing what happens in Arizona. If I had a second team, it would be them. Marvin Harrison Jr. was my number 1 player last year on the draft board, and I think he'll do great this season. Hope y'all are doing well. Thanks, Miles.
Wow.
It's a great write-in, man.
Miles. That's awesome, man.
Look at him with the Cardinals vote there.
There we go. Some representation. Love to see it.
Go Broncos.
I'm also probably one of 12 Cardinals fans, so.
Go Broncos.
Yeah, it's interesting. Before you have to get out of here, Taylor, I wanted to play a little game here before the season starts.
Okay.
Let me give me 1 second here. Cardinals. And then I'll play this with you. We'll do this as well, Kyle. Let me find a good image here. Is this year? Yeah, it is. Okay. Let's pull this up. Open image. All right. I'm going to share the screen.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to open this up here. I don't know why I always shared this one here. I don't know why I didn't share the big one. Can you see the big screen, or is it all the different images?
It's all the different images.
How irritating is that? That's quite irritating.
I can see it, though.
You can see it?
We're just looking at the schedule, yeah.
All right, I got it. I got it to full screen here. I don't know why it's doing that. All right. Take us through, man. Wins and losses.
Wins and losses?
Wins and losses, man. What's the record going to be?
Black is away, I think, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Red is home.
Week 1, I think we beat the Saints. Week 2, I think we beat the Panthers. Week 3, I will go...
You guys swept them last year.
Yeah. I'll say we lose to the Niners week 3.
Okay, 2-1.
Home against the Seahawks. I'll say we win that one.
Okay, 3-1.
Home against the Titans. I say we lose that one. That one feels like
annoying losses.
Yeah, like kind of one of those games where, like a trap game, where they kind of go in sort of unprepared. Maybe the Seahawks win builds a lot of confidence, and then I think, like, I don't know, maybe a backup quarterback or something will totally just throw for like 300 yards over us.
Well, it'd be Cam Ward. It'd be their number 1 rookie.
Right, yeah. So even better, right?
All right, so you're 3-2.
Let's see, away against the Colts, I think we win that.
Okay, 4-2. Good start.
Home against the Packers, we lose that one.
4-3 into your bye. 4-3, decent record.
Yeah, away against the Cowboys, that's a tough one. I'll say we win that just because I feel like the Cardinals have always had a really good record against the Dallas Cowboys.
I also think the Cowboys are going to be pretty trash now.
They're going to have a rough year, I think. Yeah. All right, 5-3 heading into week 10.
Week 10 against the Seahawks, I think we lose that one.
Okay, 5-4. You're hovering around 500 most of the season so far.
Yeah. Home against the Niners, I'll say we win that one.
6-4.
Home against the Jaguars, I say we win that one as well.
All right, now we're making some separation here. 6-4.
Yeah. Week 15 against the Bucks away. I will say that we will win that one. That one feels like a game where they will win that one, but they shouldn't have won it. I don't know why. I get that vibe from that.
Right.
Like we win off of like a last minute, field goal or like a 2-point conversion, something like that. That's the sense I get from that one. Home against the Rams, I say we lose that one.
Okay.
Weirdly.
Rams are a solid team.
Yeah. And they always play us really well at home, unfortunately. 15 against the Texans, I say we lose that one. I think CJ Stroud just picks us apart. 16 home against the Falcons. I think we win that one. Away against the Bengals. Oh, that's a tough one too. I will say we win out those last 2 games.
So you have them going 11-6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I thought was there. If you would have asked me, well, if you asked me right now before the season starts, I think 11 wins is kind of their ceiling. I think that's probably like the best they can do. I think they have a floor of probably about 8 wins, I would say.
Yeah, they definitely improved their defense a lot.
Yeah.
This year. No doubt. No doubt about it. Cool. I always love doing this before the season. It's just fun.
Yeah, no, that is fun. I love going through that too.
We'll see. You have time to stick around for us to do these last 2 before we call it a night?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay, cool. We'll do this. All right. You're up next here, Kyle.
Let's do it.
25 season. Let's get a good look here.
It's a tough one because I have high hopes, but I'm also in one of the hardest divisions in the league right now.
Yeah.
Can I just get these? I don't know why this is so hard to find one that's like a big picture. This is so annoying. This is a good one. If we can open it here. Yeah, this will do. Okay. Now let's see if it'll let me share the larger one. Yeah, of course, now I got it. All right. Okay, here we go.
Nice. There we go.
Let's go, Knicks. All right, week 1 is probably going to be the easiest game. I don't think Cam Ward's going to be ready for that defense. I think
week 1? No way.
Yeah, I think week 1's going to be kind of a beating.
That's kind of like Knicks. That's kind of like Knicks having to play Mike McDonald in his first week last year.
I don't think he's going to be able to handle that. And Vance Joseph is definitely going to blitz the crap out of him. So,
all right, 1-0 record.
Yeah, I maybe see the Colts like winning 3 total games. It's not going to be here.
I agree. Well, you're going to go going into Indy and probably making them 0-2, I would imagine. So
yes, yeah.
2-0, good start.
So we start at 2-0. This is which one's home? Home is the
orange is home and white is away.
I can read. Yeah. So away to start off week 3 though. After starting off 2-0, I think the Bolts get us here. Actually, shout out to Miles. And Bengals is going to be a tough one, but we are at home, and it's early enough in the season for me to say that we might get Burrow here. So I think we're going to be 3-1.
Okay, 3-1 start. Week 5.
Eagles is obvious. I think we're losing that one.
Okay.
Jets. We don't really know how the Jets are going to be here. This is an away game.
Probably pretty bad, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm going to say we win it.
Well, what, you got Justin Fields now as the quarterback?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think we win it.
Okay, 4-2 start. Pretty good.
I think we actually win back-to-back here. We're going to be at home. I think both of these teams are pretty mediocre.
So 5, 6, so 6-2.
And then a loss to the Texans. Tough team. It's on the road. That's going to be a hard one to win.
Okay, 6-3.
Raiders, I love Pete. I love Geno. They are kind of a wild card team because they could actually be pretty good if they figure out how to gel it all together. There's a lot of new parts on this team. So they're a bit of a wild card. It is at home, though. I think we bounce back. We get a win here.
Okay. 7-3.
And then that's going to be 7-4.
Okay. They're going to come into Denver and beat you guys?
Yeah, it's Kansas City.
I forgot that Pete Carroll was the head coach of the Raiders.
Dude, and Geno Smith is their quarterback.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing, though. Kansas City's got that weird mystique about them. I think our roster actually might be better than theirs this year, but you just can't count out Andy Reid and Mahomes. So I do think that they somehow sneak out a win. I think this game's going to be really fun to watch. It's going to be close, but Kansas City will win that one.
All right, so you go into your bye week with 7-3.
Yep.
That's good.
On the road, oh man, Commanders is tough. I don't think we win that one.
Okay, 7-4.
7-4, yeah.
You gonna sweep the Raiders?
I think so.
You got to see it to believe it first, right?
Yeah. I'm not really thinking that the Raiders are just going to be good right off the bat. Although I do have Ashton Genty, and I hope he plays well, but that's about it.
Okay, 8-4. You guys are in the thick of it. You guys are probably at least third seed with an 8-4 record at this point.
Mm-hmm.
This is tough. I think Green Bay is suddenly one of the top 6-7 teams right now in the league.
Assuming Jordan Love shows up.
Yeah. I think this is probably a loss for us, especially if that roster ends up turning out the way I think it will. They're going to be really tough to beat. Still a good game though, I think.
Okay.
And then Jacksonville, I think, is kind of a walkthrough. To be honest, I kind of put them there with like Tennessee and Indianapolis.
Yeah. So 9-5.
9-5, and then on the road to Arrowhead. I'd love to say that we win that one, but I do think Kansas City sweeps us this year, and they would have last year, but they just didn't play any of their players. So I have too much respect for the Chiefs to say that we're going to get one on them. I just don't think
it's like the same thing as the Raiders, but in the opposite direction. Like you just kind of have to see it to know that it's a thing.
Yeah.
First.
And then where does that put us? Where am I at?
8-6. Or 9-6. Sorry, 9-6.
I was gonna say, wait.
Yeah.
9-6.
Right? No, 9 and
supposed to be 17.
Yeah, there should be 17 games. Did I miss one? Let's see. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you're 9-7?
I think so.
Okay.
And then I do think that when it comes crunch time, I think we kick out the Bolts here. This might actually be for a playoff spot here against the Bolts. I think that'll be a fun game.
Oh, for sure.
But it's going to be at home, and I actually really believe in Bo Nix. I think he's built for high pressure games. So I'm going to go with my team here.
Okay, solid.
Yeah,
10 wins.
So you 10-7. I'm surprised. I that's a very conservative. It's kind of how we are as fans. Though we're not crazy fans.
We got to play the Chiefs twice.
Your division is brutal, and the Raiders twice, who are not a joke anymore, and the Chargers twice.
No, because the Raiders could easily win one of those games. Yeah. I don't think they sweep us, but
and you got to play the Packers and the Commanders and the Texans and the Eagles and the Bengals. This is a hard schedule.
Very hard.
This is a really hard schedule.
I think 10 wins this year is a big step over what we got last year.
Even though it's the same amount, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could be a dangerous team going into the playoffs too.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we'll wrap it up with mine here, and then we'll call it an evening. Let's see here. Let's grab a good one. There we go. All right, share my season. Oh yeah, this is the Seahawks' 50th season of existence.
Wow.
This year.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, right? 50 years.
Dang.
Okay. So.
This is a nice schedule. Presented by Delta.
Right? Presented by Delta.
Sponsored.
So I'm, as realistic as I am, I'm pretty bullish on this team. I think this is going to be a top 5 defense this year. They're really stacked on defense. And I think everyone thinks Seattle's offense is garbage, and I don't think it's garbage, actually. I think the offensive line is going to be a lot better this season. We're going to have both of our tackles fully healthy. nothing but absolute raves about our rookie left guard from lots of non-Seattle people saying how good he looks. We have a new center. We'll see how he does. He's a little undersized. But the offensive line in general, I think, is just a lot better. We have a new offensive coordinator who's not just going to drop back and pass and shotgun 50 times a game and just leave them all on islands. It's a run-first offense with play action and zone runs and gap scheme. It's going to be nice. It's going to be a nice, I feel like they're really going to make the most of the players they have, even though on paper it doesn't look super impressive. So I do feel pretty good about this team. All right. What do you guys want to take me through it, or do you want me to just go through it?
Sure, man. Starting off at home against the old classic Niners and Seahawks.
Yeah, man. Niners with a new look. Two rookies on their interior defensive line. And absolutely no receivers. Brandon Ayuk is out. Deebo Samuel is gone. Pearsall's coming off an injury. I think we get this one to start the year.
All right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think people are way too high on San Fran right now. Then we are headed to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who is headed by the horse tranquilizer.
Yes.
Ayahuasca.
Yeah. Ayahuasca, the chief himself. This game to me, if I were setting the betting odds, it would be 50-50. Both teams have really strong defenses. It could really go either direction. We've had really good luck on the East Coast the last few years. I think the Seahawks win this one too, because while Aaron Rodgers is still figuring out that offense, it'll be a low-scoring game. Seahawks in overtime, 16-13, something like that.
I was going to say I could feel a low-scoring game for that one for sure.
16-13, and you know that one touchdown is a 60-yard bomb to DK Metcalf for Pittsburgh.
Probably. He's the only player on their offense right now. So
yeah. All right, coming back home to the Saints.
Yeah, taking on Spencer Rattler at home against Mike McDonald's defense. I think that's a win.
Say just all you need to say was Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, I think that's a win, man. I think we start 3-0. And remember, we started 3-0 last year, so it's not like I'm thinking we're going to be a Super Bowl team this year. But
no,
this schedule is interesting.
And then we're headed to the Color Rush, right?
Yeah,
I think
the rivalry jerseys.
Yeah, the Cardinals will wear will wear their rivalry jerseys, but we will be wearing something different. I think just like blues or whites or something like that. For now, I think this is a win. I just won the Seahawks play super well in Arizona. I feel like we just have our best games there. And this is kind of like the Raiders thing. I feel like Cardinals are really good, and it's likely that they could steal one from us. But until I see Kyler Murray not look like he's just been punched in the face every time he plays Seattle's defense and pouting on the sideline and all that and just throwing horrible picks, I have to go with what I've seen, and I think we win this one too.
Yeah, I think that defense is going to be a little too complex for number one there.
It'll all come down to how good Seattle's pass rush is. I think we have a very, very improved offensive line. And I think if they can get to him often and early, it's going to dictate how the game goes, 100%.
I think it's about whether they can run the football or not. Because James Conner was really good last year, and they could not run the football against Seattle in either of those games, and it made Kyler have to drop back and pass, and he just started throwing it to Seattle's players. And that's what I had. So you have to stop James Conner. If James Conner gets rolling, this is a very different game.
Yeah.
All right.
4-0.
Week 5, Baker Mayfield comes to Seattle.
Yeah. In Seattle, man, I would love to see them win this game, but it just feels like you start 4-0. There's got to be a game here where we slip up, and Baker Mayfield played really well. Their defense, they have a pretty good defense as well. I think the Bucs come in, and maybe they dropped a couple games, and they're supposed to be good, and they need it. I think they come in and steal one from Seattle.
Ever since Baker took over, I feel like the Bucs have always been like a mid team that could beat anybody.
Yes, totally. Sense. Yep, 8 to 10 wins every year, pretty much.
They're a dark horse for sure.
And you're not just gonna show up and just walk over them. I mean, they might get you at any given week.
Agreed.
So,
agreed.
Well, we're headed on down to Jacksonville.
We'll see with this team, but I just don't think they're good enough. I just don't see this even in Florida. I feel like the Seahawks win this one with a good defense.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a pretty tight race at the bottom of the barrel between Indianapolis, Jacksonville, and Tennessee. Hate to say it. Unless Cam Ward turns out to be great, then they might be, maybe 7 wins, 8 wins. But
yep. Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, this is going to be a banger.
Yeah.
At home, Monday night, Texans, CJ Stroud.
Yeah, in Seattle, which hasn't really meant as much lately, but the Texans have a bad offensive line. So if we're getting to CJ Stroud, I feel like it could be one of those classic Seattle snowball games. But at the same time, if they have both the running backs back by that time and they're cooking and CJ Stroud's playing, I'm gonna say this is a loss right now, just because they're one of the better teams on this schedule, and I just feel like the loss has got to come from somewhere. We have a pretty easy schedule this year, so I'm going to call it a loss. But I would not be blown away. I would not be blown away if Seattle wins this one because they get like 7 sacks on CJ Stroud. But we'll see. I'm calling it a loss for this game.
Texans have some serious weaknesses for sure. All right, then we got the bye, and then it's headed out to see Dan Quinn.
Yes, see our old buddy Bobby Wagner going to play against the Seahawks.
Bobby Wagner. Yeah.
Assuming that the Commanders are healthy, I'm going to give it to the Commanders. They're an older team, so they could be really beat up by this point, and we just walk in and house them.
Apparently, they're the oldest team in the league. I didn't know that.
They are the oldest roster in the NFL, and you know how injuries. Injuries can stack up that way. But if they're fully healthy, Sunday night at home in front of, we traveled all the way there. I'm saying the Commanders win this one.
Perfect. All right, and then we're back home against Murray and the Birds.
Yeah, yep. Could very well go either way, but for now, I have to see Kyler do it. I got to see Kyler do it, and I'm right now. I just don't see it at the moment. It could very well happen, but I'll say the Seahawks win this one.
All right. Do have to mention it. Sorry, I forgot to mention it. You're 6-3 at this point. Headed down to LA.
Okay. In LA, we'll give that one to the Rams.
Tough team if Stafford's in there.
Tough team.
Sean McVay.
That ferocious pass rush with Jared Verse and all these guys just coming after Sam Darnold. Like, if we get behind at all and we're starting having to throw, it just gets ugly. I think we lose that one by like 10.
Yeah. It's always hard to beat really good coaching at any point.
Mm-hmm.
He still, I think, is the best coach in that division.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have
We'll see how Mike turns out, but I agree with that for right now. Okay, headed to see Cam Ward in Tennessee.
Yeah, 6-4 record currently. I think Mike McDonald's defense against a rookie quarterback, man, I think we win this one. Yeah, 7-4.
Yeah, he's pretty elite at the blended coverage or different blitzes and hiding it, and schematically I think that's just a nightmare for any rookie. I feel bad for any rookie.
Yeah, I agree.
Playing against that. Okay, and then at home actually against Sam Darnold's old team.
Yeah, and JJ McCarthy, I don't know anything yet, right? He's the total wild card. If he's balling out, this is a great team. This team is very good. The Vikings have a great roster.
This team could also only win 5 games because the division is so tough.
Yeah, and if JJ McCarthy's not the dude, I say we win. Again, I'm taking the rookie quarterback against a Mike McDonald defense in Seattle. I think we win this game. So
8-4. Yeah. I think you're leading the division at this point.
I think so too. I think everyone thinks Seattle's going to be mid, and we're going to be pretty surprising.
Absolutely, yeah. Going to Atlanta to see our homeboy. Michael Penix.
Mike, my boy. I hate this. I don't want to. I don't want to see Mike get hurt. I think we win this game too. I don't think Atlanta's very good. I think they have a shit defense and some question marks on the offensive line. Their really good right tackle, who is the blindside protector for left-handed Mike Penix, is out for the season. It's not looking good. Not looking good for Atlanta. So I think we win
a lot of young and questionable quarterbacks going on here. I'm noticing a pattern.
It's a big reason why we're at 9-4 right now.
Yeah. And then I don't even know if I need to ask this, but at home against Indianapolis,
I think this is one of those classic Seattle like, oops, and we lose.
Dude.
It's late season. You know, it's a close division race, and you just for some reason, for no reason at all, the Colts just come in here. And Jonathan Taylor runs for 178 yards and 2 touchdowns for no fucking reason, and we lose. And we lose the game, and everyone's like, "What the fuck was that?" So that's my pick.
Beat by Daniel Jones doesn't feel good, man.
Dude. Well, he did it last year with the 2 or 3 win Giants.
Yeah. Wow.
So this just feels you have to have a face palming loss as a Seahawks fan every year. This is my face palm loss. They dropped this one.
All right, and then now Seattle's wearing rivalry jerseys.
Yeah, yes. I think it's this one. I think we split. I think we split with LA. Especially, are we even sure that Matt Stafford's breathing at this point in the season?
Dude, I mean, if he gets out of bed, you've got a tough game.
He's already getting epidurals. He hasn't even played a game yet. So I think that he's probably not playing this. I think this is likely Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think we win this one.
Wow.
Moving on to 10-5. We already got 10 wins.
Yeah, 10-5.
You know, I don't know how I feel about this team. They could be good. I thought Bryce Young was definitely picking it up towards the end of last year, but going on to Carolina, play the Panthers.
Yeah, I think that's a win. I
think they're terrible.
They're just not there yet. They looked better. They did look better. But I don't see Bryce Young looking at Leo Williams and Reek Woolen and Witherspoon and Love and all of these guys. Like, just, I just don't see it. They're not going to be able to run the ball.
All right. 11-5. I do want to say before we go to the next one, I think whoever gets to 11 wins takes the division here.
Yeah. Yeah, this game feels like San Francisco's probably had a little bit of a surprisingly bad season between injuries and just losing a ton of good players. But I think they're scrappy. They have great coaches. They're still a good, talented team, and they're like fighting. They're like going to be in this position where they have like 8 wins, and they need like 9 other teams to win games too to get in as a wild card. But they scratch and claw, and they get this one, and they beat us at home to split the series.
All right. Yeah, I agree. I think Kyle Shanahan's too good of a coach to have, a 3-4 win season. So they're going to be tough.
Yeah. And they're going to need this one. I think they're going to need that game, and I think they're going to get it. And we're probably not going to need it if it goes the way I said it might go. I don't think we'll need it. We'll probably have won the division if we beat LA on Thursday night, would be my guess.
Yeah, that feels like one of those games where you might move from 7th to 6th seed or something like that. Or if you lock in the division, you're probably not going to get any better anyways. So you might be sitting players at that point.
Might be sitting players, yeah. So yeah, 11-6. Taylor and I had the same record for our teams.
Yeah. I don't feel as confident about mine as you do about yours, Ian. I think
the only reason I feel that confidence
3 of those games.
Oh, sure. And dude, I mean, it's the NFL. We could easily lose. I think the Cardinals could easily get one of those on us. The LA could, if LA stays healthy, they could sweep us. If the Niners if these young players they have are actually good, then maybe they're really good and they sweep us. I mean, that's the NFL, man. All these games come down to like 10 points or less usually.
For sure.
So it could go anywhere. But for me, the reason I'm just kind of confident is just because of how down the national media and everyone is on Seattle. And I'm just looking at it over here. I'm like, we have a great coach, great coaching staff. And Seattle doesn't lose 14 games. This is not, they just don't do it. Like, it's not one of those. Yeah. It's not one of those teams. They're always competitive. They had the worst offensive line in all of football. They had one of the worst offenses in all of football last year, and they won 10 games.
Yeah.
I just don't see how all of a sudden they just come crashing and burning and win 5 games. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So, and the defense, especially the defense, is like really good.
It definitely feels like roster-wise, Seattle seems superior. I don't understand. I think that, Kyle Shanahan's a fantastic coach, but I don't know how you look at that roster for San Francisco and think that
they lost
you have
so
a division
players.
winner.
They lost
I just don't.
so many players.
Yeah. And, I do feel for you, Taylor, because I do agree with you that the Cardinals roster-wise, could be a team that wins, 11 games or more.
The defense looks really, really good.
Looks
on
awesome.
paper.
I think the division could very well come down to Arizona and Seattle. Actually,
yeah,
that's entirely possible.
LA is awesome, but I just think they're going to be beat up. I just don't know without Matt Stafford. Do they really?
I've kind of maintained too with the Cardinals that I think up to the trade deadline will be kind of like telling on how well the season will go from there. Especially with Kyler Murray, I think, like as you guys have mentioned, he's definitely a question mark. If they start off the season and they don't play well, and specifically he doesn't play well, I think he gets traded, and I think from then, like the trajectory goes down dramatically.
Yeah, it's all about him at the end of the day. I mean, that's the NFL, right? It's a
that's what I was
going to
say.
It's all about.
I understand your concern because the Cardinals live and die by Kyler Murray. I've seen him have some of the best games a quarterback can possibly have because he's got all the skills, right?
Yeah,
he can be great in the pocket. He can extend plays. He can make accurate throws on the run. He can break out and have like a 20-30 yard run. He could do it all, man. But like then it's just the consistency that worries me. It's like you never know what type of game you're going to have with him, and his level of preparation is definitely lacking.
The Rams, where
yeah,
totally that game was entirely his fault, like 100%.
I think when he faces good coaching and schemes, he really struggles.
For me, for quarterback play, it all comes down really to how quarterbacks play in close and late situations. And in close and late situations, which is 5 minutes or less remaining in the game, and it's a one possession game, so 8 points or less deciding it, Kyler Murray has thrown 0 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, and his quarterback rating is 34.9.
Yeah.
And then that won't work. Like you're not winning divisions and going to the playoffs and winning Super Bowls if you throw 5 picks and no touchdowns in one possession games in fourth quarters. That's when quarterbacks make their money.
Right.
So maybe he'll just turn it around. I mean, that's the thing. It's like that's what every year we're like hoping because we all know he's got it.
Yeah. Dude, last year it was like mid-season. We were like, Cardinals are really freaking good right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Kyler was hot. I mean, they looked scary.
Yeah, they looked awesome.
And then it quickly fell apart.
Yeah.
Because there was a moment where they were leading the division.
Yep. Yeah, they were them and Seattle when they first played the first game in Seattle. Both teams were 6-4 at that time.
Yeah.
And the rest, everyone.
I mean, Gannon has proved me wrong, like entirely. I thought that was an awful hire at the time.
Yeah, it didn't look great, dude. That first speech,
dude, it was awful. I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Did you watch the Hard Knocks?
No, I didn't get a chance to.
Dude,
was it Hard Knocks or was it just a like Arizona Cardinals thing? I think it was just.
I'm pretty sure it was Hard Knocks.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they.
I was gonna say I don't remember them being on it
because
I didn't think they were on Hard Knocks.
It was a couple years back because he got hired. It was the same year he got hired. That first off season of spring training and all that. Dude, you gotta watch it. That first speech that he has is so cringe.
Did you take the bus?
It's so hard to watch. Dude,
he is super cringe, dude. But it almost like adds to his like lore though,
because it's genuine, right? I think that's all that matters. Is like he's not pretending to be someone else. He's just like a dorky guy.
He's just a goofy.
It's okay
guy.
to be dorky. Dude, Jim Harbaugh is like one of the weirdest coaches out there, man. But people buy in and they love him, and he knows what he's doing. So
you just gotta be yourself. I think that's all that matters.
Yeah. He's been a pleasant surprise, for sure.
Well, Taylor, we kept you past your time, so we'll get you out of here. This was super fun. I know it wasn't super about games. We talked about Madden for like a half hour, but this was fun.
No, this was fun. I liked it.
So it's just a fun little departure. Hopefully those listening who love football enjoyed it as well. We'll be back
Hope we didn't lose you.
As I said, we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming next week, back to all video games. Don't you worry. This is just a one-time fun thing for us, and I'd love to do an NFL podcast at some point. I think it'd be really fun, like a weekly review of
That would be cool.
the week. It'd be super cool. So maybe someday. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great, safe weekend. And we are super excited to see you next week. And there will be real football happening the weekend after our next show. So we're going to be all giddy next week, but we'll try not to go dive in too much more. It's out of our system.
Right.
All right, everybody. Have a great night. We will catch you next week. Later.
See ya.
Now here's a guy when he has his contacts in, he can see better.
Now here's a guy.
I had to throw that in there.
Patrick Mahomes. That's the best incompletion I've ever seen. Wow. Are you guys ready for a whole year of that right now?
Oh man.
Kinda, yeah.
Oh, this is a guy. Or Romo. Romo's, I can't stand watching games.
Jim, I don't know,
Jim.
They could go for it here.
And it's like definitely not a situation we still go for.
Right, yeah.
Dude, my favorite is like it's like second quarter, 12 minutes, left into the quarter, and it's like a third down, and the game is still like, it's like 17 to like 7, so it's like not out of reach, but it's real close. And he always says something like, I don't know, man, if they don't score here, this could be the game. And I'm like, dude, it's so early.
It's not even halftime, man.
Like,
I don't know, Jim.
I love that guy on TikTok who does the impression of him.
No, yes, I don't know, Jim. Yeah. He does Collinsworth too. He's like pretending to be like a CIA agent interrogating like a master criminal. And he goes, Chris Collinsworth. Now here's a guy who knows how to sell illicit drugs.
Chris just got a fat extension too. He's going to be doing it through 2030, I believe.
Oh, God, that's funny.
Okay, goodbye for real. See ya.
All right, bye.